Hello. I looked at some data recently, and it's projected that Christianity is increasing globally. Now, I'd like to just talk about my observations and what I think about this data, what it really means. So, according to this data, like 38%, no, actually, no, it's like 33%. So, like about a third of the world is Christian, according to this data. Now, half of that is like Catholic. So that's but so they put that under the umbrella of Christianity, even though Catholicism is like a completely different branch. And I mean, if you're Catholic and you believe, everything you're supposed to believe as a Catholic, I don't even know if you're saved because the official Catholic doctrines won't get you that. So that's kind of sad, but that's like half of that is Catholic. So at best, some of those people might be saved, but as far as knowing actual Bible doctrine, no. So that's half the people in that group. So that's why I'm very skeptical about any kind of like research into these types of things because um, a lot of times the people doing the research don't really know what they're talking about. So they put Catholic under the category of Christian. That's like half the Christians supposedly. So you're down to like 1/6 of the population at this point, which would be really good actually. I think the world would be a very different place if all of those people were in fact Christian. But I really have doubts about 1/6 of the world being Christian. The world would be a completely different place. I mean, if as many people were Christian as like for America, like if you look up the data for America, I don't know what they tell you, like what percent of America, but even if it was like 40% or 50% of America that's Christian, that would already be really good. But I think they probably put that percentage even higher. They might tell you it's like 60 or 70%. And the truth is, if it was that high, like the LGBT movement would have never started. We wouldn't even have a Democratic Party. That thing would have been shut down immediately. Um, so that's crazy. I know that there aren't that many Christians in this country. At least not that many people that take their faith seriously and go to church. So these numbers are always overstated because a lot of times they just assume if you say I believe in God, that somehow that makes you a Christian. Like just saying you believe in God does not make you a Christian. There's a lot more to that. You have to believe in the Bible. You have to believe in Jesus Christ. So there's a lot more that goes into that than just saying I believe in God. So anyway, that's why I'm very skeptical about this kind of data. But also, I mean, they did mention a few good things. They did say that most of the growth is in developing countries. So, like in Africa, the Middle East, Asia, and I do believe that. I do believe there's a stronger growth in those countries, and unfortunately, these Christians are facing persecution in these countries for their faith. So it's strange that in the countries where they face the most persecution, it's actually at the highest growth. Whereas in Europe and America, where you don't really face that much persecution for being a Christian, other than somebody thinks you're weird, that's about as bad as the persecution gets in the Western world. Um, so we don't really face that much persecution, but we're actually having dropping numbers. Like we're actually losing people, even on paper, that say they're Christian. So, yeah, I still think these numbers are super inflated globally. Like, there being, let's say, 2 billion Christians on the planet, or even like 1.5 billion Christians on the planet. That would be amazing if there were that many true Christians on the planet. We would be living in a completely different world. America would be a completely different country if those numbers were actually true. Europe, even Europe, which has a much lower percentage of Christians, would still be a different place. We wouldn't have all these liberal policies. Like I said, the Democratic Party wouldn't even exist in its current form. They would have never gotten voted in. Those policies would have never passed. Like it would be just different. The timeline would be completely different of the world. So that's why I'm very skeptical of of these numbers. I think they're massively, massively inflated. Um, how many true Christians are there on the planet? How many are actually even saved? I don't know. It's hard to say. I can give my best guesses. Um, Now, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because I live in America. In America, all I see is lukewarm Christianity. That's mostly what I see. The only I see serious Christians maybe because I go to conservative churches. That's why I see serious Christians. If but mainstream churches, how many people in there are actually serious? Probably I don't know. Probably not that many. But in the maybe in the developing world it's different. Faith is different there. It's serious because you could be persecuted for real for your faith, and so the ones that aren't church, it's serious. So anyway, that just something I wanted to talk about. See you next time.